So, okay, I think we're live now. Should be. Get a few people in here. Okay. What's up, guys? Make sure everybody can hear me okay. Yeah. Keep on joining. Everybody keep on joining. Yeah, how's it going, Trinity? Yeah, guys, I want to just so I just want to answer some questions that people have been asking of me, and people have been sending in DMs and asking in the group in general. Just been kind of overwhelmed with messages and everything, so I thought I'd just have one big live video where everybody can ask me questions now uh, and kind of throw some information out there. So we just launched the new site design at sapling.cc. Hit the link in the description if you haven't checked it out already. And then we'll be adding more blog content too pretty regularly, and an education resource on the site that's coming at the end of the month too. So everything that we are producing as far as education content goes, that's going to be on YouTube, and then that's going to be on our website as well. So you can get videos like this, panel answers, Q&A, and then just general branding and marketing foundation experience for education. So I want to talk specifically about the cost of doing bad design and costs of, I want to say, just cheapening your brand, or finding, cheap ways to do things. So, and this is something that I have noticed a trend with, is there are a lot of people not awake. Man, I'm almost not enough either, but I'm going to do it anyway. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about just people that are coming into the space, and either they don't have the budget allocated, they don't have enough capital to invest into their marketing or their design or their branding in general. I want to talk about how, if you are bootstrapping that or doing it yourself, how you can make the most of it. And then also just, where should you be spending your marketing money, and what should you be doing first? I mean, it's pretty overwhelming, especially as more and more people come into the space that don't have necessarily a creative or marketing background. So this is people specifically that are coming in that don't have a lot of exposure to the marketing side of things, not only in this industry, maybe from another industry as well. Because there are a lot of people coming in that are from the vape industry, just ag in general, the ag industry, farmers that are switching over to hemp, and then suddenly they're growing hemp, and now they have a whole business to manage. Farmers that are coming in to try and do vertical integration as far as seed to shelf, and just not having the experience for that, or really know. You got to know where your foundation is and how to build that up. So just going to talk a little more about that. Specifically, this morning I want to talk about design too. So I think one of the biggest things as far as design elements, we're talking about logos, we're talking about your packaging, we're talking about your web design, your signage in your store, your retail store design. So design encompasses a bunch of different elements of your business. It's not just a logo like you might think. There's a lot of different elements that encompass the whole thing. And in order to have a more cohesive brand and create a more comprehensive and relatable experience for your customers, all of these design elements have to sync together. So if you have somebody that you paid to design your logo on Fiverr, and you're trying to start up a company, and you're trying to just find the lowest cost, it might seem appealing to go to Fiverr or go to Upwork or find a student, or maybe your cousin's son that took a design class in college to design your logo. It might sound appealing if you can do that and get it done without spending any money or very little at all. But the cost savings at first and what you're going to save translates into a much bigger expense down the road. So the true cost of having bad design amplifies tenfold when you're a few months, a year, a few years into your business, and you don't have a cohesive branding system for your business. You don't have cohesive design elements. So it's really important that when you are establishing this brand foundation, that you keep that in mind, and you take into account that even though you may save money in the beginning, that it's going to translate into thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars later on. So it's important that you find designers and branding agencies, or whoever you choose to do design, whether that's in-house or whether you decide to outsource that. Make sure that this is something that you kind of talk about, and it goes so much more into who you are as a company, what your company's personality is, and the message that you're just trying to push out to the world. So you have to first establish that, and we talk a little bit more about how you kind of amplify your message and how you figure out what that's going to be. So in order to do that, you really need to first just figure out what your values are. What does your company stand for? And it doesn't have to be anything too complex. It could be just a few words. So for example, our values as a company are be ethical, do good, rise through adversity, and give back. And we kind of go a little bit deeper on our website now. We have that down, but we kind of go a little bit deeper on what each one of those means. But it's also, up to interpretation, because those meanings and your own values could change over time, just like your business does. So you always have to be constantly evolving and changing things on that standpoint. But it's important to first figure out what those values are going to be, so that you can start to build that foundation. So that when you do have to start to make designs, you have to come up with a logo, you have to come up with branding elements and a website. It's a lot easier to do that when you know what the core personality of your brand is. So it really all ties together. Once you have the foundation laid out, it makes everything so much easier in the long run. It makes all the decisions you have to make regarding branding and marketing so much easier. And while it might be more expensive, like I said up front, you're going to save so much money because you're saving hours and hours of time. You're saving yourself from making so many mistakes, and you're saving yourself from losing consumers that get confused by a brand, or distract or dissuade consumers from actually taking the leap from becoming customers to brand evangelists. So that goes a little bit deeper into what I want to talk about. So also we're going to start doing live videos once every few days, preferably once a day, just Q&A and just talking about a few different things that you could do for your brand and your business going into 2020. So we got a lot more people joining here now. And guys, if you have any questions at all, just drop them in the comments. I'll try and get a few of them answered, especially if anybody's been DMing me and I haven't gotten back with you. Now's your chance to just ask me a few questions, and you can get the answer to that as well. Drop your logos in here too. I don't know if you can add images as a comment in live videos. But if you can, I want to see people's logos. Drop them in here. So going back to the true cost of bad design. So we were talking earlier about just how coming into the space, you want to save money, you want to reduce cost, and you've been going on, you're always looking for ways to reduce costs in your business. And there are so many business owners that I talk to where the first thing that they want to gut or reduce costs on is their marketing efforts, whether this is just starting out. So it could be finding somebody really cheap to do your logo or to design your website. The initial cost savings that you get from finding somebody to do it at such a low price translates into thousands and tens of thousands of dollars later on if it doesn't conform to your overall identity, if it doesn't create a cohesive experience for your customers, because that's what it's all about. I mean, building a brand essentially is creating a constant experience for your customer to have, in each and every touch point that they interact with your business. So you want to make sure that the company that they interact with on social media, on Facebook, the company that they interact with on your website is the same when they come in through your doors, is the same when they talk to you on the phone, when they look at your visuals, when they're using your products. It all has to feel like the same company. So I posted something yesterday about commoditizing your brand. How much, here's a question we've got. How much should you expect to spend on building an e-commerce or hemp or CBD website? So I can't give you an exact estimate that you should spend, because you need to know your needs first of all, and the purpose of your website. And that's something that a web designer should ask you, why do you need an e-commerce website? Why do you need a new one? And then what is this website going to do? And then also, what kind of problem is this website going to solve? So are you already selling products in store? Is this going to be your only storefront or an additional storefront? How many customers buy online as opposed to, or interact with your business online as opposed to face-to-face? So these are all questions you should be asking yourself and have a plan for before even going into it. I would say roughly, if you're going with kind of an agency to do your website, you can, especially e-commerce, you can expect to spend no less than $30,000. Now here's something I want to say also, and going into why that translate into sticker shock. And this goes back to why this spending so little upfront is going to translate into thousands later on. So you're in a very competitive space, and everybody has to remember this. So right now, if you're only selling a commodity, which is CBD, CBD is a commodity, CBD is not the product. It's a race to the bottom when you sell commodities. It's a race to get the absolute cheapest product to market and in the hands of consumers. And that's not what building a brand is about. Building a brand and selling products is about experiences. So if you're only spending $1,000, but you're expecting to make $100,000 from your website, then that's not a proportionate spend to the problem that you're trying to solve. So if you're trying to build a multi-million-dollar business and brand, don't you think you might want to spend a little more than $30,000 to do that? So it's important to find somebody that understands that, it's not a problem that can only be solved by one person either. These are usually problems that need to be solved by a team of people that are working to just come up with solutions for the same problem, especially if you're e-commerce only. So there are a lot of other things that go into that. and other costs that you need to anticipate for that as well. So advertising costs, how are you going to drive traffic to your website? Is this going to be SEO? Is this something that your web designer can do, that they have the capabilities for, or is it something that they offer? So that's something that you need to think early on as well too. And I can go into SEO later on. That's actually going to be something that we're not doing in 2020 anymore, just because it requires so many resources and it's such a big expense for our clients. So SEO is, you're looking at spending a minimum of $50,000, $60,000 a year. And there are so many other companies that are spending so much more than that right now. So the bigger companies and bigger conglomerates are trying to go after the same exact keywords. So you're essentially just going to put 6 figures into it and still just be competing with people that could spend more. So my recommendation, we're going to be putting out a little bit of content on just how to do it yourself, to search for more long tail keywords that are not being utilized and just kind of underutilized opportunities, and how to find those. But it's not going to be something that we offer anymore. Okay, we've got a few more people in here too. Once again, guys, anybody coming in, if you have any questions at all, just drop them in the comments and I will attempt to give you an answer for them. Talking about the true cost of bad design and why deciding to spend little money or be cheap on your marketing efforts translate into a more expensive option than spending more money on good design initially. And guys, another statistic actually I wanted to share with you. So over the last 25 years, I believe, there have been this group of about 15 to 20 companies that have been studied and tracked over the course of the last 20 or so years on. So these are design-led companies, public companies that choose to spend most of their marketing on design. So these are companies like Jaguar, like Louis Vuitton, think bigger brand names like that. But these companies outperform the traditional stock market and like companies in the S&P 500 about 200 times more than companies that are not design led. So excuse me. So it's important, I mean, just from, I'll link this study too once I can find it. It's important to understand why design translates into a bigger ROI down the road. But it's going to be something that I'm going to start going into more in depth with just throughout the next few weeks. And like I said earlier, for those of you that weren't in here, we're going to have an education and resource section on our website that will be up in the next month. So that's going to be everything you need to know to build the foundation of your brand and to really just position yourself for success in this industry. So with that, I'm going to hop off here for a bit, and this is also going to be up on our YouTube channel, so I'll get a link for that for those of you that weren't in here earlier. All right, everybody check the new site too. We just launched it yesterday. There's a few more sections I think that are about to come out in the next week and throughout the next month. So just keep checking back and I will announce new updates when they come. All right, thanks everybody.